Hey everyone, Rob here, and I have updates on the eruption, which has now ended, by the way, and the situation going on in Iceland regarding the earthquakes. We see right away here that there is a new danger assessment map, and also news about the Blue Lagoon opening back up. Now, first thing I want to address is that there are clear signs of land rise happening at Svartsengi. Now, although the eruption ended very quickly, it's too early to say right now whether the speed of this sort of increase is now higher than it was before the eruption on January 14th, which was only a week ago. The very first measurements indicate that it is the case, though, but as mentioned, there can be a difference between, the days and between measurements that, do not necessarily indicate the long-term development of this area. Now, seismic activity over this area, if we take a look here at the map, has continued to decrease, and the changes previously seen on GPS meters have slowed down significantly. One thing to point out, though, is that prior to the eruption, we did see a slowdown in seismic activity in the area. But the meteorological agency says there's every chance that magma will no longer flow into the magma tunnel that formed on January 14th, and they're saying that the eruption is basically going to be over. GPS measurements also show little changes within Grindavik. However, there's still a high risk of soil collapsing into the cracks within the city limits, and it's important that new cracks are mapped and changes in the known cracks are assessed. Now, again, going back to this, the meteorological agency has now updated the risk assessment map, and for earthquakes in the area, the danger level has been lowered in all areas, as we can see. Overall risk assessment for Area 1, Svartsengi, so that's this sort of Area 1 here. Whoops, there we go, with the Blue Lagoon. Is set to yellow, which is some risk. And then the area of 4, which is Grindavik, here we are down at the bottom, has been reduced to red, which is still a high risk. It should be noted that the color zone reflects the overall risk within the area, and the risk that is rated higher than others within the region is sort of taking a look at overall things. You can see some of the information on the side, but it's all in Icelandic, unfortunately. Basically saying there's still a high risk of high danger in Grindavik and in the area of Hagafell. If we take a look at these areas here, we see this is the lava from the 21st of December 2023, and then we have below it down here is the more recent eruption, which happened in January of 2024, just a week ago. We can see here how close it was to the city of Grindavik, as well as the sort of mapping of the lava that came out of the fissure inside the town of Grindavik. No wonder they are putting this as a higher risk, just because if the land rise is continuing even more than it was and quicker than it was before, we could see another eruption very, very soon. Now, interestingly enough, we are just 1 week, past the eruption that occurred. Not when it ended, it's 1 week from when it started, and we have the Blue Lagoon already reopening. Now, history has shown us that mere days after the Blue Lagoon decides to open, we see another eruption. It's happened twice now. Blue Lagoon is opening today after being evacuated last Sunday, and they evacuated the hotel and the lagoon itself last Sunday. Today's Saturday. Not even 1 week later, they're back opening up. The managing director of the Tourism Association says that solutions need to be sought for the companies in Svartsengi, which they're specifically talking about the Blue Lagoon because there's not really anything else in that area. And they want to find every possible way for their activities to not be stopped. It includes opening of the Blue Lagoon itself, the cafe there, the restaurant, 2 hotels, spa, the shops, everything. They want to open everything in the Blue Lagoon, and you can see here that the Blue Lagoon opened today, January 20th, less than 1 week after the beginning of the last eruption, which occurred just on the other side of the mountain from this. Now, the managing director of the Tourism Association welcomes the opening of the Blue Lagoon, saying that this is extremely important. It's possible to maintain the activities of the companies in Svartsengi, again, Blue Lagoon is basically the only one when the security situation shows that it's possible. The Blue Lagoon, they say, is Iceland's most important external brand. There are a lot of visitors who visit the Blue Lagoon out of the total number of visitors who come to the country. Says, one of the managing directors, Johannes Thor Skulason, the director of SA. There's a lot of criticism, including myself, about opening the Blue Lagoon so quickly, but also criticism that the Blue Lagoon can open, but not anything inside of Grindavik. Now, Johannes says that Svartsengi, specifically again the Blue Lagoon, is a different situation than within Grindavik, and based on the risk assessment of the meteorological agency, an eruption within the defense walls around Svartsengi would mean a considerably long lead up, 4 to 7 hours at least. Again, referencing how all of this happened. If we take a look at the last eruption, however, we didn't get a 4 to 7 hour lead up. We got maybe 30-minute, 1 hour warning where there was a huge amount of earthquakes, and then of course they evacuated everyone out of Grindavik and out of the Blue Lagoon, and then it erupted. The second fissure that opened in the Blue Lagoon, however, there wasn't really this warning. It just kind of happened. So 4 to 7 hours is what they're saying. They'll be followed by a huge amount of earthquakes, and then they would evacuate. The Blue Lagoon and other companies in the area have demonstrated that evacuations can proceed quickly, and so they're saying the risk is therefore very minimal. He is saying, however, that it's not going to assess whether people should be allowed to pick up valuables in Grindavik. Hope that happens very soon. But in the future, they're saying the most important thing regarding economic activity in Svartsengi is that there are solutions and clear plans for evacuations, closures, and openings depending on the situation. They want to look at this as possible work for the long term, because the other possibility is that these operations will just shut down and it's just not available. I personally think that given the fact that we had 2 eruptions within 1 month, we see here the 21st of December, 15th of January, and now we have the land rise and an increased speed compared to the last 2, and already building up to the same height as the last eruption was, and when of course we saw the eruption shortly after that. I think that it's maybe a bit premature to open the Blue Lagoon at this point. Same with Grindavik. It's a very dangerous area. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to hear that because, they want to go to the Blue Lagoon. But personally, I would not go to the Blue Lagoon until we saw, a sort of stop in all of this activity in the area. The last thing that I would want is to be in a panic in the middle of the Blue Lagoon, trying to swim my way out, grabbing my belongings, and then fighting to find a way to, drive out of the area, all while an eruption is happening very, very close to me. The other funny thing is, as this eruption was occurring down here, they weren't even allowing us to go down the road to here outside of this danger zone. So, interestingly enough, it's safe to be here, this close to an eruption, but not here. Take that as you will. I think the Blue Lagoon is perhaps, again, a little premature, and I think the government and these danger assessments are going a little bit soft on that company just because of the economic value they seem to say that it pulls in. So that's the news for today. There's going to be more and more information. We'll take a look a little bit more detail. It's been a little while since I posted. My mom was here spending time with her, and now we are back in the thick of things. Not too much has happened between the past week, other than a very short eruption, some cracks in Grindavik, and of course, today we have the Blue Lagoon opening. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, thanks.